First of all, Mr. Heyman, thank you so much for taking time this morning to talk a little WWE and your life, etc.
Indeed.
Um, let's just kind of start from the beginning. When did you actually know you wanted to be in the pro wrestling / sports entertainment business?
First time I saw superstar Billy Graham being interviewed by Vincent Kennedy McMahon on WWE television. Just a larger than life person. And he was a larger than life personality whose presence permeated through the television screen, and looked like an interesting way to make a living, to me at least. And I figured, hey, I could do that, and then I decided to do it.
And you, if I read some stuff correctly, you actually started as like a photographer, correct?
Yes, I was a good bar mitzvah boy, and I used my money to invest wisely, and I bought an expensive camera and a photo lab that I put in my parents' basement, and I started not only taking pictures but developing my own pictures and cropping them and editing them, et cetera, et cetera. And so my foot in the door was as a teenage photographer, and I got to know all the personalities, and I got to know everybody inside the business. So it was just a natural for me. By the time I debuted when I was 21 years old, I already had several years experience in and around the inner workings of the industry. So I had a leg up on anyone else that was just breaking in.
You started primarily, you did a little bit in the Northeast, but your big, I don't know if you want to call it big debut or whatever, was that with WCW / NWA as Paulie Dangerously?
One could make that argument, yes.
And then in 1993, you decided to kind of venture out on your own with what is now known as, it started out as Eastern Championship Wrestling, evolved into what we know today as, we'll just say ECF&W, Extreme Championship Wrestling. Talk about just how that got started and, how successful it did become for a while.
Well, the industry needed a disruption, and I was the disruptor. It was, the industry at the time was way too cartoonish. The industry at the time was not appealing to the 18 to 34 male demographic, and nobody was really in touch with the culture anymore. It was a heavily music influenced generation, and no one really had their finger on the pulse in this business. And I was in an advantageous age group, being 27, 28 years old, and I did have a finger on the pulse. And most of the people who were of that age didn't have any experience in this industry, so their advice to those in power fell on deaf ears. But I had been around so long that I knew how to maneuver and implement a completely different concept of professional wrestling / sports entertainment and present it to the masses. And therefore, I became the disruptor of the industry, and I'm very proud to have been that, because boy, did it suck back then, until we made a move to make it far more palatable to the public and to their appetite for a visceral product.
I mean, one could definitely say that a lot of the, as they're known, ECW originals have gone on since then. I mean, you're talking the Dudleys, Rob Van Dam, etc. They're WWE Hall of Famers now. I mean, how proud are you that you can say you had a big hand in that?
I'm proud of the WWE Hall of Fame for having the good taste of including inside of its Hall of Honors all these ECW originals, because it only elevates the status of the WWE Hall of Fame.
You closed up shop in 2001, correct?
Yes.
You then moved to OVW, basically at that time, or am I,
No, I moved on to main roster WWE in 2001.
okay, 2001. But but you started working with OVW at some point in that time, correct?
2005, right.
Okay. Is that where I mean, because you were a booker, etc. A lot of mostly backstage stuff with OVW, correct?
I never once appeared on camera.
Okay. Is that where you first met Brock Lesnar?
No, I met Brock Lesnar in 2002, 2 years after he won the NCAA Division I Heavyweight Championship, and after he had done his penance in OVW, and he was being moved up to the main roster, and we met each other and instantly clicked and realized that this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, not only for Brock Lesnar and for Paul Heyman, but for WWE itself, and that all of the stars must align for this most unique box office attraction to fulfill his potential. And therefore, already having been in this industry for several decades as a photographer and then as a performer and as a behind-the-scenes mover and shaker, at 35 years old, 36 was 2002. So I was 36 when I got with Brock. I was already a seasoned veteran, and therefore was the right in the right place at the right time, and I was the right person to be the advocate for this most unique individual.
Did your all success together even surpass what your original thought was?
No, because I always believed that Brock Lesnar would conquer not only the world, but the entire WWE universe. Did I think that we'd ever be in line to conquer the Undertaker's undefeated streak at WrestleMania, which was the holy grail of any victory in WWE? I don't know if my predictions were to be that level of success, but Brock Lesnar could do anything that he wants in his life. Left WWE and knocked out Randy Couture, the greatest heavyweight champion in the history of UFC, to become the UFC heavyweight champion. We wrote a best-selling book together, which was about Brock Lesnar's life. So I can't say that. Did I have lofty expectations? Absolutely. Did we surpass them? Yes, but my expectations were that we would surpass our expectations.
What was your thought when they approached you to basically split with Brock and now you're with Roman?
Nobody approached me on that. Brock Lesnar's contract was up in April or May 2000 and 2020, and after the match with Drew McIntyre in that WrestleMania, Brock Lesnar went home to Saskatchewan, and he was done in WWE. He wasn't coming back, and my calendar was open, and so was Roman Reigns's. So Roman Reigns and I formed a duo to serve as special counsel to the tribal chief on the island of Relevancy. And then Brock Lesnar, seeing the success that Roman Reigns was enjoying, decided to come back. But I mean, there was no conscious effort to split from Brock Lesnar to then ascend to Roman Reigns. I ended up with Roman Reigns because Brock Lesnar left WWE for a while.
What is your preferred job in the business? Do you prefer the backstage work, or do you love being out on camera, riling the fans up, etc.?
All of it, every single moment of it. Even during the week, and just navigating through the creative process with Roman Reigns as to what we're going to do that Friday on television. I am enjoying this run more than any other run I've ever had in my entire career, because I work with someone like the tribal chief Roman. Actually, because I work with the tribal chief Roman Reigns, I can't say someone like, because there's no one like Roman Reigns.
You've talked about his current reign. You're talking in the likes of Bob Backlund and Bruno Sammartino right now. Is there an end in sight if, is there an end in sight to this title reign?
No.
That's it. Just no. No, there is no.
You asked me a yes or no question. Is there an end in sight? What am I supposed to do? Sit here and start to quote Socrates? It's a yes or a no question. It wasn't subject to interpretation, nor did it require any validation or any quantification. It's a yes or no question. Yes or no? No.
So you're
Hell
telling me,
no. F no. No, 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 no. No.
Roman Reigns will still be the champion, and who's left to defend, I guess, at that point?
A locker room full of very hungry challengers that prove themselves on every day and every television show and have been spearheading the biggest box office phenomenon in WWE history. Last year, WWE grossed $1 billion for the first time. Why? Because it has the best roster it's ever had, and because on top, the top attraction, the undisputed champion, the top star for 365 days, and all of those 365 days, Roman Reigns. Have you acknowledged your tribal chief today?
I haven't, but I will make sure I do so.
I shall enjoy the anticipation of you acknowledging your tribal chief on that day.